What's going on, guys? Hey, welcome to Culture Jack with Dustin and Anthonie. Today, we are diving into video games, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so today's topic is video games, and we are going to just talk a little bit about our history, talk a little bit about the games, and then what it means to us today being kind of the veterans of video gaming. You know,
Couple old guys.
Oldish.
Oddish.
So,
Pokemon.
yeah, Dustin, why don't you just start us off with the history of games to you and what that means? What does that look like?
It's to a young impressionable Dustin
Person, yeah.
So I started playing video game. I didn't really I found my grandpa's Atari in his shed, and we played out in the cold in his shed. That's just, I don't know. That's where he had it. That's where he kept it. I don't know if Grandma wouldn't let him have it in there, but we did that, and we played the Nintendo. But really, when I started to, I guess, become a little more passionate about video games was when I was, I don't know, in like the 5th or 6th grade with the Super Nintendo. We played a lot of that. I finally saved up and bought my first video game console with the PlayStation. All the rest of them had been family-owned consoles before that. And PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and here we are today. My next big purchase is going to be the Xbox One X, but probably not until later on this fall, 2018. What about you?
Real similar. I mean, my uncle had the Atari, so we got that at a young age. I thought that was obviously cool. Everybody did. It was kind of mind-blowing. Jumped into the Nintendo. I would say between Nintendo and Super Nintendo, this is a thing that a lot of people... actually, let me kind of correct myself before I dive into that part of it. A lot of people missed the opportunity to see what arcades were like. I mean, I loved going to arcades, man. I mean,
we went to Merlin's in Anchorage.
Yeah, there was that. There was a space station in Anchorage. There was a small one here in Homer. There was a couple in Spokane and in Washington. So all over playing at the arcades, but it was infrequent, right? Mm-hmm. Like whenever you got a ride there when you were a kid or your parents took you there, I used to love that. From pinball to the big arcade
event,
games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man! And you got to sit in the driver's seat and drive the little car.
I thought you meant your parents were letting you drive the car.
No, they weren't letting me drive the car. But then we get into Super Nintendo. Went to the arcades a little bit then, and then as it evolved into the 3D gaming, I think the arcades really took a hit because everybody was buying these new consoles. So I didn't get to play as much arcade stuff, and by then it was kind of aging, so you could go home and play something that was kind of better from a graphic standpoint. Hard to keep up with, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same suit as you, the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, the Xbox 360, and as all of that changed, I think the games and, I was growing up with it, so the titles got better. I felt like, the titles got more risque as you got into like the Grand Theft Auto world, where you're like, holy smokes, this is no longer...
Oh, heavens.
Right, I'm no longer like this little block dude swinging from vine to vine. Now I'm like jacking people's car and freaking doing crazy shit with guns and so forth and so on. And then it leads us up to kind of the same point you're at. Xbox One was the last console I bought. I took kind of the little bit of the right turn into the computer world just because...
You just took a turn. It's not like a right turn.
Yeah, but there's a huge controversy between consoles versus computers, and we're not gonna get into that. But predominantly now, I would say the computer gaming part is kind of where I'm at. So let's talk about what kind of games do you play now, or what games have you always played?
I just want to make a quick note on you talked about the arcade, and I completely forgot about the arcade, but that was where you used to find out what games would be coming to the consoles. True. Like, they don't do that anymore.
True.
It was like you'd play Tekken 2 in the arcade, and you'd be like, I can't wait until they port this to the console, which is funny because children, teenagers, they don't have that anymore today. They announce it for what it's coming out for, and then it comes out for it, and that's pretty much it.
Well, right. Let me jump into that though. Being at that age, right? I mean, that was back before like 2-player games were really big, and it transitioned to where 2-player games became really big from Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all of those fighting games, Tekken. But I don't think that you ever got like the true legit camaraderie between people like you did at an arcade. Dude.
Oh yeah,
where you're jamming those fucking you're
playing X-Men. Yeah, you know, when you're
Alien or whatever it was.
You've deposited $17 already, and you
can't beat level 3 or Area 51. Come on. You remember that?
I do remember that.
I mean, that was
game scared the heck out of me.
Oh, it was a mind bender,
so
dude.
Frightened.
Because you're sitting there with this little piece of crap plastic gun shooting the little fake aliens and stuff, dude. Pumping in quarters. All right, so what games are you playing, though?
As far as games that I used to really enjoy, like I used to play a lot of RPGs. I got hooked on Final Fantasy VII for a long time and Final Fantasy Tactics. I guess those are the only RPGs I played, so it's not really, I guess, a good example. But today, I don't have a lot of time to play because I got a wife and kids. But you know, I still play a good deal. I play Rocket League. I enjoy playing. I like first person shooters, not as much as some. I enjoy.
Well, name a couple of first FPS that
FPS that I enjoy today would be. Well, I used to play the heck out of like Halo. I jumped into the Halo series on Halo 3, but. Titanfall has been a great game that I really enjoy. Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2 is the most recent one. And they're just fast-paced. And you get giant robots in them. There's nothing cooler than that. And I'm not very good at them, but I enjoy playing them, you know. What about you?
Recent big title game or games that I've been playing. I have not been playing a lot, but I'll go down kind of my short list. I still play and reloaded Fallout 4.
Oh, that's a good game.
I think that's an epic game, and you can play it like just on and off, and not.
It's not as good as New Vegas, but I mean, it's
a good game. Yeah, I would argue that. But so like the Fallout series, of course. You know, I'm a huge fan of the Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, Rockstar games. I love all of their games.
Red Dead 2 is coming out this year.
Red Dead 2, that's wicked.
I think it's coming out this year, 2018.
You know, the racing stuff, I still love some Forza. And that, you know, that really... I play more titles than that. Obviously, I've been playing Tom Clancy's Wildlands. That's super fun.
I heard that was a lot of fun.
That's a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of what else. You know, I play Witcher on and off. Right now, I don't have like a go-to game like, hey, I gotta play this or I gotta play that. I mean, I would say those are the ones that I've most recently played in a couple of sports games and just get in the competitive kind of sports mindset, especially if I've been watching baseball or football. It's like, oh yeah, well,
you're like, I want to play that.
Right, and I'm not going to go outside
manage
and
a team.
Right, but I do think that at least for my part of the conversation with my favorite games, I'll just transition to kind of our the next segment of this conversation, and that would be the impact, you know, and where it is for me now. I mean, over the last couple of years, I've kind of slow rolled on the video games. I mean, I kind of stepped back. Not that I think that there's anything wrong with video games, but life in general has kind of taken over. And
you're a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I stepped back. I mean, FPSs. I was a huge into FPSs with the Halo. All of the Halos started with Halo 1. Walked through each one and loved them all. Big into Call of Duty for a while. Titanfall, epic game. Both of them were Battlefield. Loved the Battlefield worlds, but you know, years past, it was like huge. I mean, releases. I'd get a day of release, and I would be out there freaking doing fairly well. Obviously, not a top tier by any means, but I would be able to play at a high caliber for the groups I was playing in. And, you know, I feel, I guess, less inclined to use my time to play video games. And I'm not talking trash by any means, saying that you have better shit to do. My free time, I try to find something else to do.
Well, video games anymore are so consuming. I mean, you can log many hours into a video game very easily. I mean, they make them huge. It's not like back when we played Lion King on the SNES, where you could finish that game in a day and a half,
right,
and then go on. You had the passwords in the middle of the
right,
no save points.
Right.
And anymore, it's so hard to keep up with video games. Like, if you are the kind of person that goes to try and play every new video game that comes out on the market, that's a full-time job, man. You can't do anything else but play video games, and it's hard. It's hard when you got kids, you know, to play every new video game. So I pick 1 or 2 a year that I really am excited about, and then I get those, and then if another one pops up and I've got a little extra scratch on me or something that the kids really want to play, then I'll pick that up as well. But outside of that, I mean, I got the Xbox, and the Xbox has the games for gold. Mm-hmm. Every month you're getting 2 new games.
True.
4 new games for the, you know, they usually do 2 for the 360 as well that are backward compatible. And so really, if I never bought another video game again and just paid for that membership every year, I could have as many video games as I needed. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and I've got the Xbox Gold, and I don't download some. I guess I'm horrible at that point because I have to.
You're just leaving money on the table. Is what you're doing. Just leaving it out.
To blow the dust off my Xbox, but something similar to that though, from the PC world that I will mention is I do get excited. Probably once to twice a year I'll get excited and jump on Steam.
Steam sale.
I'll go into some big Steam sale, and I watch it now and again, and I'm like, I don't know 3/4 of the crap that's on here. But then I'll find something that I knew came out, or there's an add-on for a game I'm currently playing, and it's at some ridiculous price. So then I feel almost obligated, out of nostalgia's sake, to be like, oh, I owe it to this. But unfortunately, I just haven't been playing. I do enjoy it. Like Fallout's a great example for me personally. It's definitely a me deal. You know, I really do enjoy, you know, turning the computer on, cranking the graphics up, and sitting there playing for 45 minutes or an hour, which is
throwing those settled eggs at the consoles, aren't you?
I just it just fits what I do better, because like I said, I've kind of moved toward the laptop and the desktop world, and to me it makes it easier because I'm constantly doing stuff. So, you know, I'll set up my laptop, or if I'm at home, I'll turn the console on, update it. That's the one thing I will say that sucks about the console to me was a few weeks back I went to play a game, and I'm like, I was charged up, and then it was like, oh wait, I have 2 gigs of stuff to download, so I guess I won't be and I guess that's the other part, that the computer, because I use my desktop so often, so everything's always up to date. I use my laptop all the time, so it's always up to date, so I don't have to do those things, right? So if I want to play Fallout or I want to play Grand Theft Auto, it's literally me already on the computer I'm using. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna play this shit, it's already uploaded, it's updated, all of that, and I'm back in it in a pretty quick.
You've got to update controllers now. Like Xbox controllers.
You're right.
You have to update them, which blows my mind, because we came obviously from a time, or we started playing video games at a time where they were all wired controllers, and they were just hardware that you would press buttons that would send signals into a machine.
A rectangle with A, B, start, select, and a D-pad, right?
Yeah.
Shit, dude.
I didn't have the top buttons?
No, not the NES, dude. That thing was like a hard piece of plastic with a freaking extension cord hooked to it.
Yeah, no,
like you could probably swing that thing up and climb a tree with it, dude. Like Tenchu.
Tenchu was a good game.
I know. I don't know why that came to mind, but yeah. Drop your caltrops.
It was a violent game. Have a poison rice cake, sir. Yeah. Enjoy yourself. My children make it hard to game too. You know. You talked about Fallout. Fallout is a great game, but I am now hypersensitive to violence in video games, and Fallout is a violent video game. Heads are exploding, creatures are, gigantic monsters that are going to eat you. And so I have to play, if I want to play a game like that, I have to wait until my kids go to bed or get up in the middle of the night. And both of which I'm finding I need my sleep. You can't stay this beautiful without the appropriate amount of sleep anyway.
Absolutely. So, as far as the impacts of the games and the evolution of the games, I mean, I would say there's definitely some top games that I'm looking forward to. I think you hit the number one earlier with Red Dead 2 coming out. I still do get excited about certain titles. I'm not saying the excitement doesn't come with some of the big ass names that get dropped. I mean, Titanfall. Who knows if there's going to be a Titanfall 3? I hope there is.
I hope so too.
I'm excited to see because the company's changed hands and whatnot. But in the same token, I don't know. For me personally, I know you talked about getting the Xbox One X, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I won't be a person that probably purchases I don't know if I'll purchase that or not, just because, like I said, the computer world, I've been updating those and keeping up to speed with those, and all of those titles now, and now it used to not be this way, but now are getting close release dates, if not the same day. They're getting, the same titles, and then the ability to transfer
on the PC?
stuff. Yeah, yes, absolutely. So, and the abilities of not only the PCs, but the way that Steam works is so freaking basic and simple that this computer crashes, you go buy a new one, or whatever your deal is, that it's just so basic and simple of taking a game on, putting it off, downloading it, not downloading it. It's just made it to fit my lifestyle more. I'm super excited to see what the future holds. As far as video games go, out of all the genres, I'm not just saying particular to the the FPSs, the racing games, but I'm excited to see what is to come, because for video games, I think right now the biggest new school thing that hasn't gotten the traction that I feel it will get is the VR world.
Mm-hmm.
I've almost bought the VR stuff multiple times, and I'm still on the fence.
What's your major hesitation about getting the VR? What?
So that's a great question. So there's a couple of things that is kind of holding me back. One, there's so many out on the market right now. I mean, you can look at Dell has one, freaking Oculus Rift, which is Facebook, has one, HTC has one, Samsung has one, PlayStation's got one. So there's so many of them out there. I'm waiting to see who becomes king and supports, because it's been proven in history with these big technology things. So I'm waiting for that. I'm also waiting to start seeing the level of support that the consoles and PC is going to give it. I mean, obviously, you can argue that, hey, these guys are supporting it, these guys are not. These guys are. I want to see, is there where's the threshold to where they say, you know what, we're going to support every game developer that is in the top tier, the AAA, the big boys, are all going to support it, and they're going to give you that VR experience, and it's going to be catered to you, or not. And once that kind of tips, I think I'll be a buyer.
You're waiting for some finality to what it's going to
look like.
Yeah,
I want it to mature, man, because I just don't want to be. I don't want to be the guy with the goofy fucking headset that you're like, hey, I spent $500 on this thing.
No, it's getting
It was
dusty.
cool for 10 months. It was cool for 10 minutes. I can't play any of these games I want to play because it's not supported, or only 2 of the 10 games I'm currently playing it is supported, or whatever that may look like.
Well, we kind of didn't talk about them, but what do you think about handheld video games? I mean, did you ever have a favorite handheld? Game Boy, Game Gear, Tamagotchi. I mean, what did you have a favorite handheld video game that you like to play, or did you ever get into that too much?
I would say, actually, that's funny for me, because you remember back when we were kids, they had those cheap ass, I don't even know what you call them, like the $5 games and shit, like black and white, and
there was like football on them?
You
Or?
could get football, you could get commandos. They had a lot of, like, every other game was like some cheap thing. It took AA batteries. There was no cartridge or anything. It was like you bought that game and that's the game you got. There was that, a little bit of Game Boy stuff. Never, to be completely honest, I had a couple of buddies with the, what's the Sega thing called?
The Game Gear.
Game Gear.
I had the Game Gear.
Yeah, Game Gear was legit for a little while, but never, I would say I was never like head over heels on it. Now, what I will say is, with cell phones and all of that stuff, I mean, for a while I was big into that. One of the coolest parts about that, that I laugh now, and I laugh because it's kind of goofy because I did it with my PC a long time ago. Got to do it with my cell phone when I jailbroke my iPhone. And that was the emulators, man. I think that's one of the coolest things ever is throwing an emulator on your cell phone. And
I got Final Fantasy Tactics on my phone, man.
There you go. I mean, so that to me is kind of a double, almost like giving you a double deal there because you get the functionality of all the crazy shit you got on your cell phones, and you can dive backwards and you have the ability to play NES or Super NES or whatever it is. So. Outside of that, no. I mean, like, I have no want or actually, no, I lie. I'm lying. It just came to mind. I did have the PlayStation Portable, PSP.
Oh.
I had that for a while. That was really cool with all the traveling.
It's the Vita now, right?
Yes. I don't know if it's still...
Or it was the Vita.
It's gone, though, right? Like, it's not in the marketplace?
I don't know. I think it's doing very well, isn't it?
I have no...
I'm looking it up. I'm going to look it up on the internet.
Look that one up because I have no idea. I ended up
What games did you have for the PlayStation Vita?
I had the PSP before it came Vita, so it was like the legit... I had baseball. I had football. I remember playing a lot of Madden on it. It was actually pretty nice, to tell you the truth, dude.
Rolling Stone says that, sadly, the PlayStation Vita is dead in the West.
So it's pretty much gone. I haven't seen anything for it, though. Like
June 5th, 2017, is that article.
Yeah, and they went all digital, so the difference was the PSP had the little games, little cartridges. It was discs inside the little cartridge things.
Yeah.
Versus the Vita, it went completely disc-free and all downloadable content.
I gotcha.
So I loved it. I actually sold it to someone toward the end because it was like that was when cell phones started to get bigger, and it was like, yo, I'm not playing it as much. I'd much rather play a goofy game.
We got the Nintendo Switch, which is it's a console, but it's also a handheld, and it's been really nice. I mean, just because I've got the family, and sometimes we like to play, or someone likes to play, and then the other people want to watch a movie or something, and so you can just take it out, plop it out, and you can take it to the John if you want while you're doing work in there, making dreams come true,
right?
And the like.
But how do you like that? I mean, do you use it as a portable device?
Well, on occasion we will, and just the other day, the kids were playing some video game on the TV, and so I popped it out and I was using it, and I set up a little kickstand and took the controllers off the side and just played back, and then before I knew it, 2-3 minutes later, the kids were all on my shoulders, and so all three of us were in the living room, and all three of us were playing on this little tiny screen, and versus the big screen.
That is the same. If because I haven't played the Switch, and actually I forgot I had the Wii and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That was fun for
the Wii. The Wii was fun.
But so with the Switch though, it's the same thing. Big screen or small screen, right?
Correct.
Like graphics and
correct.
The game itself.
The reports, and I've experienced it a little bit, are that the frame rate on the Switch, on the actual, you take it out of the dock, are a little bit better than they are if you put it in the dock through the TV. But there's hardly a difference that I can
You're not
tell,
getting screen tearing or anything.
No. It's not bad.
Okay.
And I mean, it's got Zelda on it, and so that game was amazing.
That is cool. And how long does that last?
The battery on it, I don't know. I've never done a test, really.
But I mean, you can play it handheld for a couple hours at least.
Oh yeah, at least. Easy.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a pretty cool thing. Then.
So, it's a good little device. But video games are fun. I'm sure we'll jump back into the topic later and talk about them more because though it's something that we don't have as much time as we used to when we were younger men. It is still something that we both enjoy, and it was a big part of our lives growing up.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's it. Throw your headphones to the floor. Check us out on Twitter at CultureJacked. And while you're there, make sure you tell us what your favorite video games are, or what your favorite genres, or what started you out on the whole video game journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and tune in next week. Culture Jack. Tech, games, movies, and more.